It's Labor Day weekend, and you deserve a treat. Like 25% off all your Liquid IV favorites and podcast exclusive gifts with purchase during Liquid IV's Labor Day sale, happening now. Just go to liquidiv.com and use code LIVPODS at checkout. There's never been a better time to stock up on all your favorite hydration. From sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade to the fan favorite hydration multiplier, cotton candy, and more. This is a limited time offer, so stock up before it ends. Just one stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you better than water alone. It's 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, with 8 vitamins and nutrients for refreshing, on-the-go hydration. So don't miss out on stocking up on all your favorites. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and use code LIVPODS at checkout to get 25% off site-wide, plus exclusive gifts with purchase. That's code LIVPODS at liquidiv.com.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
All right! Yeah! It's here, baby. Here we go. Welcome in. We're live in downtown Las Vegas. You know the drill. From Circa Resort and Casino, we are loaded to the gills here on a football Friday, and we're feeling good, man. We'll talk LSU, Clemson, Preston Guy coming up in 30 minutes. He has the pulse. He's all over that game. Chuck Edel, the reigning, the defending Circa Friday Night Football Invitation champ, 77-44-3 last year. On the program in 1 hour, Chip Brown knows Texas football inside and out. We'll hit that game against Ohio State. And R.J. Choppy on the fallout of the Micah, or is it Michael Parsons trade to the Green Bay Packers.
Tough. I know you're excited. Maximum Metallica, Sirius XM Channel 42. What took so long? Let's go. Awesome. Started this morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. Oh, doctor.
Should have been on Sirius XM 20 years ago.
No kidding.
I was in Seattle a year ago tonight watching them perform. Harvester of Sorrow, Blackened, Orion, Leper Messiah.
What a set list. All time.
Very
good. For
good.
you. Good for you, buddy.
So we're ready. The action really started last night with week 1. And now what do we do, Paulie, with Boise? I don't want to overreact. Are they out of the playoffs? I'm not saying they are. I'm asking the question. Assuming that they get handled at Notre Dame later on the season.
Yeah, 11-1 isn't enough.
I would need a little bit more than 11-1.
It's one thing to lose to South Florida, but everyone watched and they got embarrassed and destroyed. So it was pathetic offensively to get blown out like that. And we'll see. Maybe South Florida's not even that good. I don't know. That's the other thing that's out of their hands. But now there's no margin for error, as we said yesterday.
Sure.
Because you're going to lose to Notre Dame, and now you're going to have to run the table. And that is going to be best case 10-2 with that loss on your resume. And there's not going to be a good win with the way the Mountain West is off to the start that they get off to. So I did the same thing Mike did, Montesano. I took James Madison 10-1 because I'm not there with Tulane. I'm not buying the hype, and they were the second choice from the little guy to get in. So I took some 10-1 James Madison, but the door's open now for someone other than Boise. Was plus 180 as they got throttled. I just couldn't believe how bad it looked. Then they played a good first half. But then the fumble while they're driving.
Oh, you got to clean
beautiful
it up,
execution. The balls of a burglar to call that fake punt. And the kid makes the beautiful throw. That's not like a 5-yard pass. That's like a 30 or 40-yard pass.
Right.
But then they're getting blown out, and they can't even move the ball in garbage time. And even the star tight end Louder can't go over his receiving yards.
Yeah, it's like they weren't ready for the game last night, not ready for the season. They were so sloppy with the football. They killed themselves when we were on the air during the game yesterday. They kept killing themselves when we were off the air. It was just one of those snowball things where it kept rolling downhill and getting bigger and bigger, and that was it. I mean, they couldn't catch up after they fell behind. And I'll flip it, though. What if South Florida is good? And we'll find out in the next couple of games just how good they might be.
Yeah, get back to me in 2 weeks because it's Florida and Miami.
Yeah,
that would certainly help them, but it's going to be a weak case, no doubt. It was I don't know. People, is Genty worth 10 points?
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, it's a completely different offense and team. They go week 1. They roll into Georgia Southern. 6-7 touchdowns. 60-plus points, and the guy has an historic season. So, I mean, the running game wasn't there. The passing game was atrocious. Matson, is a veteran, and they just couldn't get anything. They didn't hit louder till like third quarter of the game.
Right. And so the running backs, we talked about that quite a bit during the week. Like overall, like what is Genty worth? It's tough to gauge because typically, running backs are not going to be worth much to the number, but he was a historical running back. And then this is also Boise State we're talking about. This is not like Alabama where you're going to go from Mark Ingram to Derrick Henry and then to Trenton Richardson and whatever the timeline was there. It's just one right after another, 5-star kid after 5-star kid. So he was going to be difficult to replace. But how much overall? I mean, if you compare just one game, that last night against South Florida, to pretty much any of their games last year, totally different team.
Yep.
Completely different team.
I have a positive. The defense looks to be good.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, they gave up the special teams touchdown. Then while we were on the air, they had a ridiculous penalty that led to a South Florida touchdown. They were going to get the ball near midfield. And then the defense is on the field too long because of what the offense failed to do. So, bad start, and I think a bad start by the Big Ten. Nebraska won, but come on. Cincinnati's got 33 yards passing in the fourth quarter, and you can't put them away?
Paul, that decision at the end of the game was horrific.
Yeah.
Come on, you're going to at least tie the game or have a shot to tie the game with a field goal and then send it to overtime. You didn't have to force it like that. That was a really bad decision by the Cincinnati quarterback.
Yeah, well, good for Nebraska. They finally won a close game.
Yeah, but the other games.
Yeah.
Whew, did you watch the Minnesota and the Wisconsin game like I did? No, I think Buffalo's good.
But I was going to say that. Buffalo's got a good defense. Buffalo might have a good team. And that was a beautiful drive by Minnesota to salt it away, but Buffalo gets the money.
Wow.
And the Wisconsin game was an in-play dream. Just an in-play dream. Number one, the backup looks to be better than the starting quarterback. The other thing is Fickell won't embrace, let's just run the ball and play old school Wisconsin football. So they could have been there all night. I don't think Miami was scoring. But how bad Wisconsin was offensively and to be up 3-0 in the third quarter. What are they doing? 4th and goal. 4th and 3 from the 6, he goes for it. And the kid throws an interception.
Well, there was question. I think they had a 3rd and 2, inside Miami territory last night, and they called like a play action pass that the guy was dead for like a 20-yard loss. Like you're putting the backup quarterback, by the way, in a terrible spot there when you only need to pick up a couple of yards for a first down, and you're going to drop him back in a rollout almost like 12, 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They play Alabama in the non-con this year. Alabama has, it depends on where you look. I was looking at some Pro Football Focus numbers today. They have Alabama rated as the number 1 defense going into the country. And last year when Bama went to Wisconsin, that game changed after the quarterback for Wisconsin got hurt, but Alabama eventually put it on them. Like, is Wisconsin going to be able to do anything offensively when they play Alabama? Yep. Probably not.
Yep.
And I'm looking at, I'll throw out a couple of other teams maybe and you know what, maybe Boise plus 11-20 is a little bit of an overreaction from where they were, because what if they do clean it up and go to South Bend and give Notre Dame a game? I'm just throwing out some what ifs here. I think, what about Memphis plus 980 at FanDuel to make the playoff? Their schedule is like super weak, down in the 100s the way it looks, and there's 136 D1 teams. And they play Arkansas at home. That's going to be that's on September 20th. And Arkansas, they're not an amazing football team, obviously, but it's an SEC team. And if Memphis can handle them and beat them in that game when they're at home, and if they go 11-1 this year, and they do get Tulane at home on November 7th, they also play Navy, the day after Thanksgiving, on November 27th. There's a shot here where I think Memphis at plus 980 at FanDuel would be worth a bet.
Yep. All right, well, doors open. Take your shots.
Do you think
your cuts.
Can a team from the MAC make it? Could Toledo be, if they're really good, as good as people think?
They got to be undefeated.
Yeah.
Because Kentucky might win 3 or 4 games. Let's beat Kentucky first.
What do you think about Liberty?
It's got that. No way.
No, I don't think so either.
The other thing, too, these moves were a disaster. UCF was right. Bulls, USF, excuse me. UCF was way. They were lucky to win the game. 0-0 at halftime.
They got me.
Rutgers. How about that? Rutgers had 31 points with 3 minutes left in the second quarter. They scored 3 points the rest of the game. What was that? Akron, 9.5 to 4.5. Shutout, 10-0.
Well, Wyoming was pretty fortunate to cover that game with a late touchdown, but I mean,
Oklahoma.
By the way, file that away. Wyoming's not very good.
Uh-huh.
Akron is just going to be a dumpster fire, probably.
UAB 17.5 up to 21, lucky to win the game. Oklahoma State 19.5 up to 27. Duke 33.5 up to 37. NC State, East Carolina over 56.5 up to 62. No, that's another one. 17-0 NC State. Mid-second quarter, they got to get a fourth down stop to win the game, and they stopped offensively. Sure. And what was a horrible decision by East Carolina to throw the ball short of the sticks on 4th and 1. Come on. But, good night, bad night for the Big Ten, at least ATS. And it continues tonight. And that's a big game in Baylor. And the favorite is flipped in that game.
How about that?
At least at DraftKings, yes.
Well, based on my Twitter timeline, every single human being in the world is on Baylor tonight.
Yeah.
That could be a scary proposition. But it appears that way here, by the way, with Texas, too. Tomorrow. And you're going to hear Derek Stevens explain that coming up a little bit later on in the show. They took a $550,000 bet, first game of the week 1, $550, bang, right in your eyeball on Texas. And so then they moved Texas to the 1-point favorite, obviously, and then it's been going kind of back and forth. And I did notice right before the show started that they were not at 1. I think they were at pick, but at least 1 or 2 other books had Texas as the favorite in that game. Do you want to hop in on Ohio State?
That's a tough game. I think maybe the under's the way to go. But this is great from vsin.com. The last time a quarterback making his first start beat the top team in the country, I think it was Jim Harbaugh. Go back in the 80s, mid-80s. It's 18 straight losses.
18 straight.
But this doesn't happen, though, either. The defending champs taking on the number 1 team in the country, too. Yep. That hasn't happened since 1988. So I could just see, I still think it's going to come down to what Massero said. I still think I have zero confidence in Matt Patricia, and then you also lose Chip Kelly.
Sure.
So I think those coordinators really helped out Day last year, and also the fact that, maybe you get off to a slow start. The lights are too bright for at least the saying, and Arch will be okay, but because they got a great defense.
I mean, Paul, it's like almost like a universal thought here that Jim Knowles is a top 5 defensive coordinator in the country.
Yeah, big loss.
And he bails, takes a big payday from Penn State. Don't blame him at all.
Yeah. That's why I like Clemson. I think getting Tom Allen's huge.
Yeah, it could be.
And the issues with Louisiana, with the LSU, with the offensive line, with our guest I think we'll talk about coming up.
Yeah, good point. Up next, we will start to dive into tonight's games on the card. What does home field advantage mean early in the season? 62.5% in this spot over the last decade plus. We will give you the details next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN on a Football Friday. We're live in Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino over the weekend. Coming up tomorrow night, one of the marquee games of the entire Week 1 schedule is LSU playing at Clemson. And the home team here, the Tigers of Clemson, favored by 4. Total is 57.5. And we head out here to the Progressive guest line as Preston Guy joins the program now, tigerbait.com. You can follow him on X at pguy77. Preston, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Guys, thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.
You bet. Let's start here with the offensive line and the concerns that LSU might have going into this game and into the season. They lost 4 of their 5 starters with that unit, and it was really good last year. DJ Chester is back. PFF ranked him the 7th lowest graded center in the Power 4 last year. Of course, they got guys in the portal, but overall, what is your level of concern going into the game, especially when you consider Clemson might have the best D-line in the country?
It's the highest, and I think it's a very poor matchup Week 1, and you have no time to get your stride in. I've got red alert. That is red flags all over the place. You've got your left guard and your right tackle. You haven't 100% figured out who your guy's even going to be. You're talking about rotating in possibly a true freshman, Carius Kern, who's shown some discipline issues in camp. I've seen him called for holding and false start a few times, but he is very, very, very strong and he was a 5-star player. So, it is a high concern. It's the highest concern on the team, and I think there's a wide margin between the next one. That being said, there's some hope there. They really like what they've got. Tyree Adams at left tackle. Weston Davis was a guy who even had some 5-star designations out of high school at right tackle there. And, of course, you brought in 2 highly coveted portal guys in Josh Thompson, who will be your right guard, and Braylon Moore, your center, who's going to replace DJ Chester, who was that low-rated center. So DJ Chester, who was a starter last year, very likely may not start this year.
Wow, okay. So safe to say, overall, again, and they had an amazing transfer portal, probably the best in the entire country on paper anyway. But the O-line, I'm guessing, is absolutely the weakest link here of the team. And is it the only weak link that the team has?
Here's the deal. Yes, is the answer to that question. Now, on paper versus on field, we've all watched enough ball to know those are 2 very different things.
Sure.
However, the offensive line is the biggest concern, and I think your wide receiver core is going to be upgraded. Caden Durham's back at running back, and he won't be a true freshman finding his groove anymore. He's now a seasoned veteran in the game. He'll be really good. Nussmeier comes back with a year under his belt. Okay, an 11 for 11 on defense will be improved. That's my opinion. Even with Halsey suspended in the first half, your 11 will be better than your 11 last year. So, yeah, it should be a better team. That's not to say every position group will be good enough to get, to win a national championship or anything like that. But I think they look good at every group except offensive line, in my opinion.
We've seen it 100 times. The post-game press conference where Kelly loses to USC and he's slamming the table. He's a great coach. Why does he get off to the slow starts here? Can you explain what happens week 1?
Yeah, and it started before him. In fact, LSU lost the last 2 openers under Ogeron as well. So let me tell you, the itch here to get a win week 1, it's almost starting to feel like, remember when LSU lost 8 straight to Bama? It's starting to feel a little bit like that, although it's kind of odd because it's different teams, but you're still losing that same spot over and over. And every year people say, well, this has to be the year, right? This has to be and it just seems like, no, you lost to USC last year, and here we go. Now it's 5 straight you've dropped. I don't know why Brian Kelly's teams have been unprepared the last 4 years, and that extends back to his final year at Notre Dame. Granted, before that, his teams looked really good at Notre Dame for 11 years or whatever it was. But, the last 4 teams he's put together have looked atrocious, awful. Very disorganized.
Yes.
Beaten bad. I mean, I don't understand how his teams in the openers have just been collective. Now, you got to pass that first year. That Florida State missed extra point 2022, you get a pass for that because you inherited a team with 39 scholarship players. You had to put together a team from the portal as best as you could, and you had to put together a coaching staff. Nobody coached together, nobody played together. That one I understand. The others are a little mysterious. So until Brian Kelly proves me wrong, I'm going to doubt him in openers.
All right, good answer. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We're talking LSU and Clemson with Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. Follow him on X at PGuy77. If he loses this game tomorrow night, they get Florida in a couple of weeks. They play at Ole Miss end of the month. They get South Carolina after the bye. If they're struggling and they have 2-3 losses, even before the Alabama game, how hot is this seat for Brian Kelly?
Well, among the fans, it'll be toasty for sure. I mean, scorching. However, he has a buyout that as of December 31st, he would be owed $57 million. And I don't know that LSU necessarily has that kind of money. So I don't know that there's a record that LSU would fire him at.
All right. So overall, but you think the defense is upgraded pretty much everywhere from a year ago?
Correct. And I think a lot of them have been substantial upgrades.
Okay. I'm looking at some metrics from the Clemson offense a year ago. Cade Klubnik obviously put together a hell of a season, and he was elite with passes 10-plus yards down the field. One of, if not the best quarterbacks in the entire game. And they have really good receivers, too, obviously, with Clemson. Do you think the LSU secondary and the coaching staff here, they have what it takes to neutralize the aerial assault here that they might see from Cade Klubnik and company? Yeah,
it's one of the things where I just look at this Clemson matchup with LSU, and it stinks. Clemson might not be that much of a better team or even a better team than LSU, but of the defense, the units that I have the least confident in, it's the secondary. And now you add A.J. Halsey, who looks like your best safety throughout fall camp. He won't be playing for half that game. So the fact that Cade Klubnik is arguably the best quarterback in the country, and they've got talented receivers too, by the way. Don't sleep on these receivers, man. Antonio Williams, Wesco, those are good players. So on both sides of the ball, it's like Clemson's strength meets LSU's weakness. Their D-line is nasty, and LSU's O-line is a weakness. And if I had to pick a weakness in the defense, it'd be the secondary. And look at Clemson's passing attack. So it's just one of those things, man. This matchup scares me for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, Preston, too. We're also 7 minutes into this conversation, and we haven't even mentioned the name Garrett Nussmeier, and that might be completely unfair. I'm a big fan. I mean, some people project him as like a top 5, top 10 pick next year in the draft. They could be way off. You never know how that stuff's going to shake out. But what is he looking at for an overall matchup? We talked about the offensive line, but he was also really good against pressure last year.
Yeah, he was. So here's the deal. You got to keep him upright. And you were, as bad as LSU was in run blocking last year, those 4 guys got drafted for a reason. Okay? I mean, they were elite pass blockers. So if you can keep Garrett Nussmeier off and keep him from having to improvise, where he had to improvise a little too much last year and threw 12 interceptions for a reason, you got to cut that back. You cannot implode like you did against Texas A&M. That being said, I think Nussmeier is as good as any quarterback in the country when he's not being turnover prone. And I think that, let me tell you something else, by the way. If Nussmeier gets hurt or can't play this year, this will be a rough season for LSU because although Michael Van Buren looks like a great backup on paper, we haven't seen it at practice. It's been a lot of ducks and dimes.
Oh, boy. Okay.
He'll throw a dime, and then he follows that with completely failing receiver. I don't think either of those backups are ready to take over if Nussmeier gets hurt. So LSU will go as far as Garrett Nussmeier's right arm will take them. Look, at LSU, there's a strong history of that fifth-year senior jump up. We saw it with Mettenberger, and then to a greater extent, we saw it with Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels, where they went from good or even average quarterbacks to Heisman winners. So there's a bit of an expectation that Nussmeier who was better his junior year than all 3 of those guys were in their junior year, there is an expectation that he will step up and be a great quarterback this year.
That's a great note. And by the way, Preston, we have about a minute left here. It looks like as we're speaking here, it looks like money is coming in on Clemson at several sports books now across the country. It looks like the home team here is up to a 4.5-point favorite. If you had to bet the game, if you were allowed to bet the game, which side would you take?
I'm not big on gambling, but I would take it's 4.5. I would take Clemson 4.5.
You'd lay it. Oh, okay, 4.5. All right. Yeah,
I would give Clemson 4 because I think they win by like a touchdown, maybe even like last minute drive, a turnover happens and they extend it. I would take Clemson by a touchdown. Yeah.
Okay, totally fair. You think it's a nightmare matchup here for LSU? Great stuff. You can follow Preston on X. He's at PGuy77. And does a great job covering the team for TigerBait.com. Pleasure, Preston. Thank you. Enjoy the game.
All right, guys. You have a nice day.
Thank you.
There you go. See, I find that refreshing when you bring on a local person, right? The team that they cover, and he's like, nah, I don't like it. 98% of them are homers.
I know. Well, but also all the talk back there is how bad the offensive line looks.
Yeah.
So this is not an ideal situation when the coach says we're going to rotate 8 offensive linemen.
Certainly not. Win-lose up next. Paul will recap a lot of the moves and the landing spots from last night's action, and the best record in the American League since late July will stun you.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We are live in downtown Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino here on a Football Friday. In 15 minutes, we will hit the marquee matchups tomorrow and over the weekend in college football. Right now, we head out and start the hour by going to the Progressive Guest Line as professional sports bettor and reigning champion, defending champion in the Friday Night Football Invitational here at Circa. Chuck Edel joins the program now. Chuck, good to talk to you as always. How are you today?
Doing great. Good to talk to you guys.
You bet. Let's begin with the game that's on the board tonight as Charlotte is taking on Appalachian State. This is a kickoff time of 7 o'clock Eastern, so coming up in 2 hours from right now. Big move here on the point spread and the total overall. It dropped both ways. App State was a much bigger favorite than where they're at right now, sitting at 3.5. Total down about good 5 points as well to 48.5, 49 in that neighborhood. What did you get here with Charlotte, and is there a bet still to be made in your opinion?
Yeah, I was right in between the steam a little bit. I got Charlotte plus 5.5, but I also did play some Charlotte on the money line. I still think it's a good play here at the currently getting. It looks like it was a 3.5 at the spot you guys are doing the show at, and this is more of a play going against App State than it is going on Charlotte. But Charlotte has a new coach, Tim Albin. He comes from Ohio. He was the coach of the year last year in the MAC conference. He had his last 3 seasons at Ohio. He won 10 games every year there. He had, before that, he was at some smaller schools, but always been successful. A lot of people think very highly of him. I think he's going to do good over there at Charlotte. He's had some good transfers come in. His biggest transfer he was able to get was Connor Harrell. He got him from North Carolina to play quarterback. And so the team's going forward here. Meanwhile, App State also brings in a new coach. They brought in Dowell Logan. He was the offensive coordinator last year for South Carolina. He does bring in a complicated system, and App State does not have much talent and not much returning on the offense as well. Their top player in offense just got hurt recently in practice. Kenya Roberts, he's out for the year with an ACL, and they're in a rebuild mode there. There's no question about it. They know it themselves. Their quarterback transferred to Tennessee. He was very good last year. They're stuck at the quarterback position now. Their defense has improved a little bit. Charlotte's defense improved as well. And again, he's brought in some good transfers on both sides of the ball. But this is really a play against a real bad App State team. This is probably going to be their worst year they've had since they got in the Division I. Okay.
And then what do you make of the total as well? Dropping down where it is, sitting at 49.5 at most spots, the way it looks.
Yeah, I was able to play it under 52.5, but I still like it to go under. Both these coaches are so heavy on running the ball. They really, it's going to be a grind out kind of game, especially in a close game like this. Last year, his Ohio team, Albin's Ohio team, rushed the ball 574 times, only threw 345, and they averaged 65.6 plays a game. Way below normal. He's definitely a run first coach. We know it's going to be a semi-close game here. I expect them really to pound the ball on the ground. On the other hand, the App State, their whole starting offense either graduated or transferred. We mentioned about the running back out, and he's also Logan's also the offensive coordinator while he was at South Carolina. He was another guy who would like to run the ball. They ran the ball 551 times, only threw 342. And with both these defenses improved a little bit, they both got stronger. I like this game to go under the total.
Follow the money, Paulie and Mitch Vies in the Sports Betting Network. Chuck Edel, our guest, not only the defending Friday Football Invitational champ, the also 20-1 run years ago, sides and totals on Follow the Money back in the day as well. All right, another total. Georgia Tech, Colorado, big move. Open 57 in some spots, down to 50.5, 8 o'clock Eastern. 5 o'clock Pacific with the kick. Where you at with this game?
Yeah, this game's been moving under. Been getting bet since it opened. I am on the under. I went under the 53 here. It's going to be interesting. Colorado last year averaged 63 plays a game, which is way below the normal pace of most teams play. And now Colorado, they're going to move away from the pass-first offense. They're going to be more balanced this year. Now that Shedeur is gone, they're not going to be, throw first. In fact, they're going to be run first now. Their quarterback, Salter, is transferred in from Liberty. He's a run first guy. He's very athletic. He likes to run. He ran for a lot of yards at Liberty. He's a little shaky at times on the passing, but he's going to run. So you're going to see Colorado play a little different style. Much more balanced this year than we have in the past. And for all the publicity that Colorado team got last year, really it was their defense that kept that team together. I mean, we know the Big 12, very high scoring offense, not a lot of defense. Their defense only allowed 23 points a game. And in conference, they led the Big 12 in the fewest yards per play. They were 22nd in the nation in defensive success rate. So a solid Colorado team. Now they're going to play, and they're going to get tested a little bit. But I think this Georgia Tech slightly overrated offense. We know there's a lot of talk about Haynes King and how well that offense has played. But I think going up against this Colorado defense on the road, also coaches have that offense for Georgia Tech. Coaches, week one have a lot more time to prepare for these games. We saw a lot of unders last night. They're more prepared, I would say, to play against defenses, against the offense. So that's another edge. Georgia Tech should be improved this year on defense as well. They brought in the defensive coordinator from Texas. He was the secondary coach at Texas last year. They bring him in as a coordinator last year. Georgia Tech coordinator for defense was horrible. They got run over. So they're going to be improved on defense. I think I lean Colorado in the game, but I really like the under in the game.
Very good. And 50.5 still available right now at several sports books. So under that game, under in the Charlotte App State game, and then Charlotte plus the 3.5. Very good. Chuck, absolute pleasure to talk to you, and we'll speak to you every Friday during the football season. We appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to it.
Thank you, sir.
Back at you. Yeah. Okay, so he's very good on totals, by the way.
Unbelievable.
You'll find out if you track that on the Friday night show, which starts next week here, the Invitational. Again, he won it a season ago with 77, 44, and 3, I believe was a record. Just insane run. He will have a lot of college football totals. And he's only allowed, I think, to play 5. He told us that he would have played more college football totals last year if the rules allowed him to do that.
Should there be rules? Remember the old Stardust show line? They had Jimmy Walker on. Dynamite! Right? Yeah. He was on. He did a CFL game, and they got mad at him. So what the hell's the difference?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he did a CFL game. I got something under my sleeve here. Okay, it was great.
All right, so there is a reason why, here at Circa anyway, they were the first book in the world to make Texas the favorite yesterday. And, the whole time when that game was posted in this offseason, Texas was catching 3, Paul. And then it was moving down slowly but surely, 2.5 for a while, down to 2, and then it kept coming. And then all of a sudden, whammo. Circa went to Texas -1 on the road against the champs. Here's the reason why. Derek Stevens, owner, CEO of this great property, he went on prime time yesterday with Tim Murray and Matt Humans, and he explained the move.
Well, I was sitting in my desk and I saw it come across the ticker. It was pretty straightforward.
That's just, as a matter of fact,
550,000 on Texas +1. So we blew through the pick. We went the other way. So now we got Texas as a 1. Looking for some buyback.
So Texas, $550,000. Texas +1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what happened. So right now we figured because the pick'em number, it doesn't mean that much. We figure, okay, now's the time we're going to go and get a little buyback. So I think we have seen a lot of buyback so far, but we're still at 1.
And now they're at pick'em. Brad Powers asked the question today, professional sports bettor, Dynamite on college football. He asked the question on X, is that the biggest college football regular season bet ever taken by a legal sports book? Might be.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big boy.
That is.
Now, is that somebody who has just a lot of money? Is it somebody that's respected in the game?
Well, even if that was Billy Walters, I wouldn't say, okay, I love Texas now. I'd just say it's too tough of a game, right?
Oh, if it's Billy Walters, I'm betting Texas.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think so.
Well, he was not 100%, 58%.
No, I know that.
But it's also, it may be the biggest mismatch is Sark against Patricia. Who knows? But maybe Jordan Rodgers is right. The hype doesn't match what I'm watching on tape. Maybe Sayan's the better quarterback, at least for this game. Yeah, absolutely. It could happen. Let's not anoint this guy just yet.
Well, I'd say, again,
you can't just say, to me, you can't have a strong opinion on this game. I love Texas. I just think it's going to be anything is possible.
That's fair.
You're talking about the defending champs here, and Now, they did a good job against them last year in the playoff, but Smith could beat you too.
Sure.
He could have 150 yards and 2 scores on your
right.
head.
We have a great guest, by the way, who is all things Texas Longhorns coming up in 20 minutes. Chip Brown's been covering that program for a long, long time. Great insider. I can't wait to, he's the perfect guy to kind of ask, right? You're going to hear one person say, dial it down. The tape doesn't match the hype. Other people find bombs like he's going to win multiple Heisman trophies.
Yeah.
What's the realistic take on Arch Manning?
Is he better than Ewers? Stats and performance and what happens and how many games they win.
I think if they
won a playoff game.
If you're betting on Texas to win the national title this year, he's got to be better than Quinn Ewers.
Yeah.
And he wasn't horrendous, but
yeah, it's a long read, not enough time. But that fantastic. What a way to start the season. But there's numbers to say Ohio State. There's trends and numbers to say Texas. That's why it's such a great game.
All right. More on the marquee games of the weekend coming up. This coach is 1-9 straight up. Last 10 games when facing ranked teams. Find out that dude next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. Good to have you on board. We are live here on a Football Friday, downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. And right now we head out to the Progressive Guest Line. This guy has done an incredible job covering the Texas Longhorns for several years. Chip Brown joins the program, horns247.com. You can follow him on X at ChipBrown247. Chip, thanks so much for the time today. You're live in Columbus. We appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting here right in the middle of the Ohio State University campus. So it's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's supposed to be beautiful tomorrow. So let's get it on.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the game. What a way to kick off the season. So let's begin here. And we were talking about this in the previous segment, right? You're getting both extremes here with the narratives across the country on Arch Manning. Some people are saying he's going to win multiple Heisman trophies. He's one of the best quarterbacks we're ever going to watch in college football. Others are coming out and saying the hype does not match the tape. What do you think is the most realistic expectation we should have on Arch entering the year?
Well, I think he's got an amazing upside. I mean, his ceiling is incredibly high. And what we've seen from him so far is a little bit of the ups and the downs. I mean, he came in off the bench against UTSA and went nuts. 4 touchdowns, 4 touchdown passes. His first pass was a touchdown. He had a 75-yarder to Ryan Wingo. Hell, he had 2 touchdowns before Quinn Ewers got out of the medical tent, including a 67-yard run where he ran 20-plus miles per hour. And then the next week, his first start, he got a little greedy. He tried to force a deep ball, got intercepted. He got some pressure and threw into a crowd against Louisiana Monroe, got a second pass intercepted. They still won 51-3. But, he admitted it immediately. He said, I shouldn't have thrown those passes. Well, then he comes back and starts against Mississippi State, and he'd clearly learned from what he experienced the week before because he completed 26 of 31 for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and ran for a touchdown. So to me, he's a guy who learns from his mistakes. He gets better. His teammates love him. He can throw the deep ball. We've seen it already. And, he's got to get comfortable with all the new characters around him in this offense. And then I think we'll just see it it'll be a chart that just kind of gradually keeps going up. Now, if he lights it up tomorrow and, kind of like we were talking about when Joe Burrow, beat Texas to open the 2019 season. And, he threw 4 touchdowns, had an interception. You could argue Sam Ehlinger outplayed him that game. Sam had 4 touchdowns, no picks. But But that 3rd and 17 pass to Justin Jefferson, changed everything. And they got on a heater, the likes we've never seen. I think Arch Manning can have that kind of rise because he wants to be great, and he's been training for this, his whole life. So, if he's a stock, I'm buying stock because that stock is just going to keep going up in my mind.
The biggest edge they have or they can exploit, do you think it's Sark against Patricia or this defense against the quarterback making his first start?
Well, the Texas defense is the absolute strength of this football team, and I think the country is going to see that tomorrow. I think their ability against a first-time starting quarterback, I'll take that as the key to the whole operation tomorrow, and then we'll see, what this offense looks like. Their left tackles got a hand injury. Trevor Gooseby, they're gonna cast it up, and he's gonna play. They've got 4 new starters on that line, so it's hard to tell exactly what that offensive line is at this point. But Arch can run around a little bit. He can extend plays. He can make something out of nothing. And I think he's going to have to do that tomorrow. I mean, I think, Sarkisian has said, we don't want to major in running the quarterback, but there are games where we'll do what we got to do to get out of the stadium with a W. And I think tomorrow's one of those games that Arch Manning's going to have to use his legs to help Texas try to get a W.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Chip Brown, our guest. He covers the Texas Longhorns for horns247.com. You can follow him on X at Chip Brown 24/7. Of the players they lost on defense, one was Barron, the Jim Thorpe winner, and he was absolutely phenomenal, obviously, last year. But they did a phenomenal job neutralizing Jeremiah Smith in their bowl game, the semifinal loss last year, where he was basically a non-factor, and Ohio State somehow still beat him. Do they still have the dudes in the secondary to slow down maybe the best wide receiver we've seen in college football in a few years?
I think they do. I mean, Andrew Makuba was a special talent, and he proved it in that game because he was the safety who concentrated on, Jeremiah Smith over the top, and he was fantastic. But they still have, Michael Taft, Derek Williams, and I think you'll see Jelani McDonald, who is, one of the breakout players in my mind for this year, 6'2", 200-pound defensive back who can run like the wind. I think he will be the one manned up on Smith underneath, and then, they'll have a safety over the top again. I mean, why would you, everyone's like, oh, they're going to have to change it up. Well, no. I mean, you force them to adjust to you, keep doing what you were doing. And then if they do some, try to get Jeremiah Smith the ball with handoffs and receiver screens, whatever, behind the line of scrimmage, then you adjust. But, last year when they wanted to take shots with Jeremiah Smith, he was in the slot. So they made sure whenever he was in the slot that it was safety concentration over the top. That safety wasn't looking anywhere else but at number 4.
Mm-hmm. Chip, what do you make of the point spread in the game? Here at Circa, they were the first sports book, I think, in the world to make Texas a favorite yesterday. They have since gotten some money on Ohio State. They're a pick 'em here. DraftKings has Texas -1.5. Do you think the Longhorns should be favored in this game tomorrow?
I do, because I think the Texas defense is that good.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling my partner at Horns 24/7, Eric Henry, if this defense doesn't, come out and, stop the run and get pressure with Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill and Ethan Burke, I'll be shocked because, these are big time NFL talents. And I just expect the Texas defense to dominate. Now, Ohio State's defense could make life really hard on Texas as well. Texas hasn't run the ball as well as it should against elite defenses. They couldn't run the ball against Georgia. They only averaged 2 yards a carry against Ohio State in the college football playoff semifinal. And I just told you, it's an offensive line that's a little bit patchwork. So, I think it's going to take a minute for this offense to find its groove, but I think the defense can control this game. And you're probably going to have to kick some field goals.
Yeah, probably. Totally agree. Chip, we're down to like a minute here. I'm a big fan of Austin. I love the city. I've never been to Franklin's Barbecue, though. Is that the best barbecue joint in the entire area?
Franklin Barbecue, yes. It is out of this world. It's worth the wait. It's fantastic. There are some other good barbecue joints, though. I mean, Terry Black's is not bad, but Franklin is outstanding.
Yeah, very good. Terry Black's awesome. I did have that last time I was there.
Yeah.
Again, you can follow Chip on X at Chip Brown 24/7. Enjoy the game, man. That was a great spot. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate that.
You bet. Appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. He's quite confident.
Yeah.
But I think he's also measured. And again, the key word here, I think, being a little bit realistic here. And as he expressed, I think, multiple times there, he is just so high on the Texas defense. And Paul, I can't disagree.
Yeah.
I think that unit might be the best in football again this year.
Minus 320 at DraftKings, Texas to make the playoff. Ohio State minus 380. Clemson, $2. Notre Dame, $1.80. Miami plus 170. As we're at with the big boys here.
Don't you like Notre Dame?
Matchups.
I don't want to lay that
Whoa,
juice, I guess.
When you were out, Brad Powers. Like, if Notre Dame beats Miami, he'd lay whatever he says.
That's what I would think, right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, if they win the game.
Where does that number go to? But he's like, if they beat Miami, and then you see what the rest of the schedule looks like, unleash hell, he said.
All right, let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Up next, which teams should be on upset alert this weekend? We'll kick that around and tie in some movement with the point spreads here today. Coming up next.